Hey, what's going on, everybody? I want to start off by saying you gotta bear with me here as I take this video. Okay, I'm using my phone. It's a Note 3 to take this video. I don't actually have a real camcorder. I got a couple of comments on my last video, which was posted probably 3 or 4 years ago now. It's been a while since I posted a video because, you know, life has been a little crazy for me over the last few years, so bear with me with the camera work here. Okay, I'm holding this by hand and taking it off my phone. So really just wanted to give y'all an update on this rifle here. This is the long-range gas gun AR-10 type rifle that I built back in 2011 is when I finished it. And I've made some modifications to it here. I put a different rail on it up front. This is a Rainier Arms exclusive rail from Fortis, I believe, is who makes this rail. And it's a key mod type rail, which honestly I'm not a huge fan of key mod. I would have rather have had a M-LOK system, but they didn't offer the M-LOK system when I went looking at this. I wanted to put a longer rail that would reach out a little bit further than the last rail. This is a 16-inch overall length rail, and the last one was 12.5, I think. Made by JP. Oh, come on now, focus. Made by JP Rifles. See if I can get this thing to focus here. Sorry, guys. All right, there we go. So put a new rail system on there. Same bipod as El Cheapo bipod, like $50 bipod from Walmart that I got years ago, long time ago. So still rocking that. I would like to get another one, you know, that's a swivel type bipod. Whenever I can scrape up the money. I've already invested a lot of money in this project, so at the moment I don't really want to invest anymore. See some of the other modifications. It's the same barrel. It's still a 26-inch Krieger stainless barrel, but I had it Cerakoted, which I had mixed feelings about. I was hoping I could have it nitrided instead of Cerakoted, but I wouldn't be able to do that without having it shipped off somewhere, and I really don't want to ship the barrel anywhere. I'd rather bring it myself to wherever it's going and then go pick it up, so I know exactly who's been handling the barrel in case something actually happens to it. So I had it Cerakoted, and the Cerakote didn't really hold up as well as I would have liked. I am not sure if I can get this on camera or not, but when I was putting the rifle back together, after I got the barrel back from being Cerakoted and I got all the rest of the parts, I marred up the Cerakote pretty good by putting it in a barrel vise, which I was afraid that was going to happen. You know, I was hoping the Cerakote would be a little tougher than it was and be able to stand up to that barrel vise, which is made of aluminum. It's not even steel, it's aluminum, and it just kind of, when I put some pressure on it, it just peeled that Cerakote right up, which I was kind of bummed about, but it wasn't a total surprise. I kind of assumed that was going to happen. So in the future I might try to have it nitrided if I can find a good reputable place to send it and ship it off, and if it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg, I might try to do that still. We'll see. I put a different gas block on there as well. This is a low profile gas block from SLR Rifle Works, which they make some pretty good stuff. So if you've never heard of them or you haven't been to their website, I mean, check them out. They make some good stuff. It's pricey, but it's worked well so far. This is actually a muzzle brake, or no, it's not even a muzzle brake. It's a flash hider that they make. SLR Rifle Works makes, that I put on here. I got rid of the brake because it was just too dang loud. I mean, it was, even with ear protection on, if I had any kind of walls or anything beside me at the shooting range, my ears would ring even with earplugs in, so I decided to go ahead and get rid of it. I mean, the rifle doesn't really need it anyway. It's a 708, which doesn't kick hard to begin with, but you know, the rifle is just so heavy. I mean, I'm still topping out around probably 14.5, 15 pounds unloaded, that it doesn't even need the brake, so I just did away with it and put flash suppressor on there, and it's ported, you know, so it's not quite a brake, but it does work very well for flash suppression. And that's really about all that's new on the rifle. I did go ahead and put, well, the sunshade on the optic on the Viper PST, which actually I never put it on before because I was afraid it wouldn't let enough light in and the optic would be cloudy and dark, but that's not the case at all. I was very pleasantly surprised when I took it to the range with the sunshade on and I could see everything, I mean, fine. It was just like not having it on there at all, which was good, but it was a bright sunny day as well, so that helped. Also have I put an angle degree indicator on here. I forget who this is made by. I put this on, let's see if I can get it to focus here. Put this on a couple of years ago, you know, to help with making the long range shots, which unfortunately I haven't been able to do yet. I moved out to the Midwest, so there are some places that hopefully I can take this and open it up and really see what it can do at long range. Maybe take a trip out to South Dakota or something and go shoot out there in one of the public shooting lands, hunting lands. That's the plan anyway, again, when I can scrape up the money to do so. So, also last time I made the video, I was talking about the ammunition. I couldn't quite get the groups that I wanted with it, and I think I have finally figured that out. The bullets I was using before, and actually I went through several different kinds of bullets. I started off with the Hornady 162 grain AMAX bullets over some IMR 8208 and got pretty decent groups. Couldn't quite get the velocity that I thought I should be getting, but decent velocity, decent groups, but I thought I could do better. So I stepped it up. I went to a 171 grain Barnes match burner, 7mm match burner bullet, which this rifle did not care for at all. And I paired that up with, I think it was Reloader 17, which, I mean, that combination was just no good. I couldn't get groups better than really 1 1/4 inch, which to me that's, I mean, that's okay, but it's not acceptable for hand-loaded ammunition that I spend a lot of time and effort to load very precisely. So after the match burners, I went back to the AMAX for a little while with the Reloader 17, which was also not a good combination. And then I tried, I think it was 154 grain Hornady SST, which was not really any better over the Reloader 17. And, you know, after doing a lot of research, because it was just really frustrating, I could never get the groups that I thought I should be getting with this thing. And after digging and digging and digging, and it took me a long time to find some information from some really experienced shooters that said, hey, you know, it could be the bullet, pretty much just the bullet and the bullet profile that you're using. And what they meant by that was the Hornady AMAX and the SST both have a secant ogive profile. It's a very sharp kind of angle on the bullet, if you will. And that's no good really for an automatic where you're limited by overall cartridge length, you know, limited by the magazine length, and that limits your overall cartridge length, which means you can't seat the bullet quite out far enough to get close to the lands and make use of that secant ogive. So everyone recommended a tangent ogive bullet, such as a Sierra Match King, but I didn't really want to go to the Sierra Match King because they have kind of a lower ballistic coefficient on paper from everything that I've done research on. Even though they're really accurate, they have a lower ballistic coefficient and they drop velocity pretty quick going out to distance. So, you know, all the ballistic software that I use to calculate the maximum range for this rifle and make drop charts and everything, I mean, they were just, it was a lot lower than using a secant ogive bullet such as the AMAX. And I want to get as much as I can out of this rifle because, I mean, it took me years to get it the way that I wanted and a lot of money I've invested quite a bit of money into this rifle. So after doing a little more research, I went to Berger's website and found that they had kind of a hybrid bullet, a secant tangent hybrid in 7mm 168 grain, which they call the Classic Hunter. And picked up some of those at the local reloading store. Well, it's not really local, it's down the road a ways, but someone had it in stock for a very decent price. So I picked up a box of those. And also I wanted to try a ball powder, which meters a lot easier and more consistently than extruded powder. And after doing some research, I came up with a load for the 168 grain Classic Hunter with, well, I was going to try H414, Hodgdon H414. Couldn't find any because, I mean, it's just out everywhere. This was still when, you know, powder is pretty scarce, primers are scarce, brass is scarce, everything's still scarce from the Sandy Hook incident a couple years back. Things are starting to become more available now, though. So I couldn't find H414, but I picked up some Winchester 760, which is basically the same thing as H414, and started loading. And came up with a pretty decent group. I'm sorry, decent ammunition that gave me decent groups. And I'll show you that here. Before, I could never really get anything under an inch. But, I mean, here is the target that I shot. This was a couple of months ago when I was actually out at the range. I was able to go out to a range and zero at 100 test groups and zero. And, you know, this is a sight-in target, so all these squares are an inch, 1 inch by 1 inch, right? So this is as I was grouping and zeroing, and I can tell you right now that this group right here, that is the best group that I have ever shot in my entire life. I think it came in at like 0.72 inches. I don't have my calipers on me, but best group I've ever shot in my life, and certainly best group with this rifle here. So grouping and getting it zeroed in. This is the last group I shot here, which, you know, some of these groups have you know, a flyer on them. Like this one certainly has a flyer. This group is a little bit opened up, and you gotta remember that shooting, you know, especially if you're going to do any long-range shooting, I mean, it's a perishable skill, and I just haven't had the time or the money to get out to the range and practice like I should, especially when this ammunition that I'm loading up costs a pretty penny. I mean, it's like $50 for a box of 100 bullets of those Burgers 168 grain Classic Hunter. So, and I got to drive a good ways to the range and pay the range fee and all that. So it's, I mean, it costs a lot to do this. But I would like to, once I get some bills paid off, get out there and shoot a little bit more and give you guys an update, and maybe take a video or two while I'm out at the range and show you how it shoots. So sorry for this video being a little bit long. I just wanted to give you all an update, and I know a bunch of you guys asked in the comments last time for me to post a parts list for this rifle, what I used to build this rifle, and I can certainly do that. I gotta modify it though. I think I still have it, but I got to modify it and put what I put on this rifle, the new stuff I put on here, and put that on the list and get that up for you. So I'll do that as quick as I can. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good one.